everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kassiah. This is SiahSwag, and I have a brand new tutorial for you today. Super excited about this one. We are going to be sewing up the newest pattern from Sincerely Jen. She has such great patterns. I especially love all the totes that she comes out with. Mr. Heckles to this day is one of my favorite totes that is out there. So anyways, if you don't know, she kind of has a Friends theme with all of the names of her bags. So if you've watched Friends, you will understand this. This is the Regina Phalange, you guys. It's so cute. So many things on this bag that I haven't done in a while. And I don't know if I've ever, maybe I've done a divided pocket a couple times. I don't remember on which bags. It's been a hot second. And an oval base. Haven't done that in a while. Okay, so this is the new pattern, the Regina Phalange. It comes in 3 sizes, which is amazing. So this is the handbag size. This is the smallest one of the bunch. I'm pretty sure the big one is like a big traveling tote. This is called the handbag. And then I don't remember the other 2 names. I think the big one's called the traveler's size. I love this size. This is my size of bag right here, a smaller one. It is put together so cute. So let's go over the details of this bag. The products used on this bag are all Tulip Bee vinyl, Tulip Bee pink, smoothie smooth on the inside, and then Wonder Ground checkered print. And then all of the hardware is from me. I did Decaville Light out of my seam allowances on all my pieces. I did Decaville Heavy on the base. I wish I would have done purse feet on this. If I made it again, I would add purse feet. It's so cute. All right, let's go over it. So here's the front. It's got this zipper pocket and it goes all the way through. It goes all the way through to the other side. Continuous. And it's nice and big. I really like it. On the back, you do have a slip pocket here. This is a slip pocket right there, and it's nice and big too. It would fit a phone. It has connectors for crossbody strap, which I haven't made yet, but I will. I sized down all of my hardware to 3/4 inch hardware for this size of bag. You could do 1 inch, totally up to you. I like the way the 3/4 looks on this. And then I lengthened my handles by a couple inches. I wanted them just a little bit longer, and I like that. It has a full zipper closure there. And when you open it, you guys, this inside. So it's got this divider pocket right here. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous pocket. I want to make sure you guys can see this. Look at this pocket. That's my divided pocket in the middle. And then we have a slip pocket on this side. And then we have a zipper pocket with a zipper overlay on that side. I love the lining in this bag. Absolutely love the lining. The way the divided pocket's done with the base is super cool. I don't think I've ever done a bag like that. So it was a fun new thing for me to try. If you've never done an oval base before, this is a great bag to do it on. It was pretty well measured out. It fits so nicely. I didn't have to fight it much. I would highly recommend you guys trying this one. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, you guys. It's such a fun bag. Go check it out. Go buy the pattern. Watch the video. Let me know what you think. I want to give a Patreon shout out to Lisa Wan. She has been a threadhead for 23 months. Oh my goodness. Pretty much as long as I've had Patreon. Thank you so much, Lisa, for all the love and support. I really appreciate it. We're doing a sew along on the Mr. Heckles right now. We're getting ready to finish that one up over on Patreon, so that's fun too. And guess that's it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions. And let's go sew up this Regina Phalange. Okay, let's go over our pieces for this bag. There's quite a few pieces because it's it's really cool. I'm really excited to put this together. I haven't made it yet, so this is my first run through. But the inside has a divider zipper pocket, which I'm super excited to try. So I think it's definitely going to be worth all the pieces. Okay, so our front main piece right here, you have one of those and exterior and one lining. I'm doing Decaville light on all of my exterior pieces, Decaville heavy on my bottom exterior piece, and then I don't have any interfacing on my lining pieces. It's all bonded nylon material, so it doesn't need any interfacing. Okay, so 1 and 1 of that. My back main, I have one exterior interface Decaville heavy, and you need 3 linings. So I have 3 linings cut out for that. Make sure you're paying attention to the amounts on the pattern pieces. I have my bottom panel all prepped and ready to go. It's got Decaville heavy on the bottom. I am going to just top stitch that piece on my bottom. I still need to do that. I will get that done. I have my exterior side pieces here, and they are prepped with Decaville light. Okay, 2 of those. My exterior top, you should have 2, and this is my contrast, right? So I have my floral and my olivey green for the contrast. This is all tulip bee material. Decaville heavy, not Decaville heavy, Decaville light out of my seam allowances. And then I have my exterior contrast bottom accent piece, 2 of those with Decaville light. I have my zipper panel pieces for the lining, the main closure. There should be 4, 2 exterior, 2 lining. These are my side connector pieces. I am doing 3/4 inch hardware instead of 1 inch just because it's the smaller bag and I kind of like the 3/4 on that. So I changed the sizes of these to fit 3/4 inch hardware. Okay. So I have 2 of those, and I did do Decaville light in the middle of these. I find when you have connectors on bags like these, this is the thing that tends to get the most wear and tear and damages first is the connectors. So I wanted to be sure that those are nice and protected. So I did Decaville light, and then these are my 4 rectangle ring connectors. Again, I sized it for 3/4 inch hardware, and I have Decaville light in the middle of those as well, prepped and ready to go. These are my handles that'll be connected. I did make them just a little bit longer than she has in the pattern. Mine are 18, so I just lengthened them a little bit. I know I like a little bit bigger handles for me. So yeah, so that's what I did. I have those prepped and ready to go. All of my lining pieces here. You have quite a few pocket pieces. I have 2 slip pocket pieces. I have 2 of my zipper pocket piece and a zipper overlay that I cut out. She has the template, very easy to do. Your interior divider pocket, you should have 4 of those, okay? Pay attention to that, and 2 zipper tabs for that. I'm excited to do that divider pocket. And then I have my interior main. I have 2 of those for the main. And then this interior bottom panel, it's 2 pieces. It's going to be, you have that divider pocket in the middle. So that divider pocket, I'm guessing, is going to be sewn in between these 2 pieces. And this is going to be your bottom oval piece. And then I have my interior top. I'm using vinyl for that. I like so when a bag has a recessed zipper, I like to have that inside part of my lining match the outside of my vinyl. You can do the lining material if your machine can't handle the thicker stuff, but I know mine will probably be fine. So I like to use vinyl for that part. And I'm also going to be doing a drop-in method. So I'm going to change that just a little bit. I have all my zippers cut out and ready to go. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zippers if you're doing all the different pockets there. And I have a double zipper pull on that divider pocket. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pulls. all your zippers. Hardware wise, I have some rivets. I'm not sure if it calls for rivets. I'm guessing it will. I have my 2 3/4 inch D-rings for that crossbody strap connector. I have 4 3/4 inch rectangle rings, and I have my little nameplate. I don't have my crossbody strap hardware and webbing yet. I'm not sure what I want to do to match this bag yet. So yeah, if you're doing a crossbody strap, you'll need the hardware and webbing and or vinyl for your crossbody strap. I think that's it. Okay, I'm excited to sew this up. Let's get going. Okay, to start out, we're going to work on that front main pocket. So I have my exterior and my lining. We're going to go right sides together. And we are just going to sew along each of these side curves where our zipper goes. So I'm just going to clip those together. So they are nice and lined up. And all seam allowances are given in the pattern. I won't be saying seam allowances throughout the video. Grab the pattern to see that. All right, here we go. So we are going to start up here where the curve starts and come all the way down. My scissors got tangled. All right. Just like that. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And if you have a hard time keeping that seam allowance on the curve, you can always draw it onto your piece and follow your guideline if you needed to. So you really want to trim. I'm going to use my pinking shears here. We're going to trim this down. And then we're going to turn it right side out. So obviously, if you're doing cotton type materials, you can take this to an iron and press it, but I'm using vinyl. I can't do that. So I'm just giving it a good finger press, using clips. Clips are your best friend when sewing with vinyl. Get all those curves out. Okay, so that's what you should have. Looks good. All right, I have my 2 zippers here. I've got the poles already on. You want them going up towards the top, okay? For placement on this, she gives you the width that it needs to be when you're done. So what I'm going to do is see how much that is and use that as my guide for where to place this inside. So we're going to go like that. Okay, so it's right right here is where I want my tape to lay. Okay, I can tell there the texture on the zipper tape kind of changes, and I can see where that needs to go. So that's going to be my guideline. So make sure you're placing it correctly. Again, measurements are for this placement are in the pattern. Okay. So that's where it needs to be. I'm going to go ahead and sew that on, and then I'll put the other side on. So we want to just top stitch this on. And for this piece, it's not wanting to stay down for me. Come on, little buddy. There we go. All right, here we go. That looks good. Okay, so there's my first one. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put on the other side here. Double-sided tape is your best friend when making these bags. I highly, highly recommend investing in good double-sided tape. My favorite is from SiahSwag, which is W-A-W-A-K. My favorite size is the 1/8 inch double-sided tape. I love it because it's skinny enough that it stays out of my seam allowances for the most part, because you don't really want to be sewing over a ton of zipper tape when you're making bags. It can gum up your needle. So the skinnier the better. And the SiahSwag is just so nice and sticky. It's just my favorite. I haven't found anything that I like more than that yet. All right, here we go. Looks good. Okay, so the next piece I'm going to add on is my backing here. So we want to just put it right on top. Yeah, place lining back main. Okay, we're just placing them together, and we are only sewing the lining pieces first. Together up here at the top, it looks like. So my lining back, one of the main lining back pieces, you have like, I think we cut out like 3 of them, maybe. So one of those Okay, and I am going to fold up the exterior, and I'm just sewing the lining. I can't get that close though. Oh wait. Okay. It's a smaller seam allowance than I thought. Okay, here we go. Perfect. So I'm just sewing the 2 lining pieces there. Awesome. And then you are going to trim down this here. Like, did I get close enough? I'm just going to go one more right here, just getting a little bit closer. I think you're supposed to catch the edge of the top of that zipper. Okay, I'm taking a little bit, my seam allowance wasn't big enough. It's all good. There we go, that's better. Okay, now I'm gonna just trim down this lining seam allowance here. I'm guessing we don't want that mixed in with everything else. Beautiful. And now baste the rest of the layers together. Okay, here we go. My front is a little bit, probably didn't lay it down as flat as it needed to go when I did these zippers, but I'm guessing when it's all put in the bag, it's going to be just fine. You won't be able to tell that it kind of lays like that. I think we'll be okay. All right, next up, I'm going to put together our handle connectors real quick. So I have all of my connector pieces. I sized them down for 3/4 inch handles. So I have 3/4 inch rectangle rings. I have my center marked. I have a piece of Decaville light down the middle. I just want to make sure that these do not tear. So I'm going to do this with all of them, fold them all in, and then we are going to top stitch down each side of these connectors and then put our rectangle ring in. All right, we have 4 done. Beautiful. All right, so I'm going to take the first 2 here. And I have my center marked on here, even though you can't see it. I clipped my center. And then she has measurements for how far out we need to take each of these connectors. Make sure it's the same. Yeah. Okay. Make sure you're paying attention on which size of bag you are doing. I am doing the handbag, which is the smallest. So the measurements are different depending on what bag you're doing. So remember to pay attention to that. So I am going to put that there, got my markings, and they need to hang a little bit over. All right. So I'm going to put them on the outside of that marking right there. And that's where I'm going to be basting it. Make sure they're even because you want your handles to hang evenly, right? All right, so I'm going to baste. And this is why we did the lining the way we did, because we're cutting down on all of this material behind this. If we had the two lining pieces and then the piece that goes on top of this, that would be a lot of layers. So that's why she does the lining the way that she does with us cutting it out. So definitely do that. All right, awesome. All right, so those are on. Now I want to get my exterior top, okay, which is this piece. And we're going to lay it down. Okay, I'm going to center that on top. And now we're going to sew this right sides together along this handle. Seam allowance is in the pattern. Okay, here we go. That's quite the little jump right there. You may need something to help you out behind your foot as you're coming off of that connector. I just kind of shove a piece of vinyl into there to help my foot come down. All right, that looks good. Beautiful. Okay, so you want to flip this up and your connectors are going to be going up. Your seam allowance is going down. And now we are going to top stitch along this bottom section. I want to be sure as I'm coming off of the connector right here, I'm protecting my vinyl from the back of the walking foot. It can catch and tear your vinyl when you're going over major bumps, okay? So just be aware of that as well. Very cute. Okay. There is my front panel, you guys. That looks so good. Ooh, I like it. All right, we're going to move to the back lining or the back exterior and piece that together real quick. Okay, we're going to work on the back panel now. We have our lining main for our back piece. I've got my center marked, and we are going to place our connectors just the same spot that we did for the front along this lining piece, okay? And I have my connectors marked to how far I need to place them on here. Okay, so I'm just going to do one at a time real quick. All right, awesome. So after you do that, you want to get your exterior top. And we're going to put that right sides together with this lining and sew along this. Here we go. All right, we want to flip it up and we're going to top stitch along the lining. Our seam allowance is going down. And I switch my stitch length just between a 4 and a 4.5. You probably could stay at a 4.5 or a 4 the entire bag. Totally up to you. Again, you definitely want to protect that vinyl when you're coming off. I would always have a scrap piece of vinyl if you are working on a walking foot machine. It always comes in handy. When I first started using my industrial, I was tearing so much vinyl with my foot until I got in the habit of using a piece of vinyl. It's life-changing. All right, so there is that part. So I need to get the other two pieces, my back main exterior and my other lining. And we are going to sew those together, right sides together at the top. This is going to be a slip pocket on the back of our bag. So we're just taking it along the top here, clipping it together, and we're going to sew it, flip it, and top stitch. Again, seam allowances are in the pattern. Okay, we're going to take it and we are going to put it on here. Just line it all up, baste it on. Oops. I want to be sure. Yeah, looks pretty even. Okay. Baste the 3 sides down. Beautiful. So she suggests putting 2 rivets right here and here, so your back pocket doesn't flop open, but I think I'm going to leave mine. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew in here and here just a little bit, and so that secures it so it won't flop open. So either way works. Do what's best for you. I'm going to sew in 1.5 inches. And that'll just kind of secure it so it doesn't flop open too. So either rivets or sew in. I just feel like if it's riveted there, I'll have a hard time reaching in my pocket. So that's my thinking. And I'm just going right back over my top stitching on my slip pocket. Beautiful. So now it won't flop open. It's kind of secured right there and there. All right, next step. All right, so next we have our exterior side pieces here. I do have my centers top and bottom clipped. I am going to mark my center line on this for my placement of the connector or crossbody strap connector. Okay, oh, that didn't work. Try again. There we go. Okay, and then here are my 2 connector pieces. I want this Decaville part to be at the top. I'm just going to fold into the center. I sized these down to fit my 3/4 inch hardware. My Decaville's a little too big there. I didn't place it correctly. That's okay. We can fix that. There we go. My computer's talking to me. All right, so measurements for how far down to fold it are in the pattern. So I'm going to mark on the back here and put a piece of tape. What do you need?
Baby hair ties.
They are in that black bucket right up there. Right? Yes? Oh, it's so good.
That's so small.
All right, so I'm going to put a piece of tape here. The tape was a little too big. That's okay. Put on my D-ring and fold it to that line. There we go. Beautiful. And then I'm going to put a piece of tape along the back. And I will repeat with the other connector. Okay, so we're going to take this. I'm just going to center it and place it on, and then we're going to sew it on. Nothing fancy or different about that. Just trying to get it in the center. Come on. Oh my goodness. Okay. Beautiful. All right, we're going to sew these on. Oh, my bobbin sounds low. I need to change it. Again, protect your foot from the vinyl. Awesome. That's what that looks like. Let's do our second one. I'm going to check my bobbin real quick. Oof, let's change it. Right here. Amazing how quick you get at changing those bobbins, right? Boom. All right. So a second one on here. Oh, right. I didn't do the best right there, but It is what it is. Shoot. Next time. All right, I'm going to put rivets here and here. I'm going to put rivets here and here. It's quite a few layers. We can do it here and here. And then I'm going to do the same on my back piece. But for me, I'm going to go underneath this slip pocket since I sewed it in like that. So I'm going to place my rivets on off camera real quick, and then we'll go to the next step. All right, so I have all my rivets on. We are good to go. We want to connect our side pieces to the front and back panels now. We're going to make one big circle. So she suggests switching out to a zipper foot because you need to get a good seam allowance along this zipper. So I have my zipper foot on. And then you're just going to connect these side pieces just like this. We're going to clip it down. We're going to sew it with our seam allowance, which I should be able to do with this zipper foot on here. And I'm going to sew both of these sides on first with my zipper foot, and then I'll change to my regular foot for the rest of the bag. This is really the only spot where it's absolutely needed to get the right seam allowance around that zipper. Okay, here we go. I'm going to have to watch out for my zipper pull when I get to it and move it out of my way. All right, I'm just going to open it up, make sure that looks good. Oh, yeah. Look how nice and close that is. That looks so good. All right, I'm going to do the other side real quick. Looks good. All right, I am going to change out my zipper foot real quick, and then we will top stitch that and then attach it to the back of our bag. All right, let's top stitch. So you want your seam allowance going towards this side panel, okay? And we are going to top stitch out this way. You know, before I connect this all to my back piece, I am going to install my little nameplate right here too. I forgot I want to do that. That looks so good. All right, I'm gonna put my little name tag right there and then we'll continue with the back. All right, I have my little tag on. All right, so we're gonna repeat with this side. The other thing that I just went ahead and did is I'm thinking about doing this as a drop-in lining. So I went ahead and marked down 3/4 of an inch on all of my exterior pieces. So if I did want to do that drop in, I can fold that down evenly. So something to think about. I just think my materials are so thick and big that it might be easiest to do a drop-in lining with this bag. So that's currently my thought. I'm going to add the back piece onto my side pieces here, making a full loop. That last top stitch is going to be probably a little bit tricky, but we should be able to do it just fine. Here we go. The one thing about the drop-in lining is you kind of want, I noticed on this other one, my seam is going to be super thick. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to separate this seam right here. I'm not cutting all the way up to there, but then when I top stitch, I'm going to top stitch this open right here at the top. And that might just make it a little bit easier if I do the drop-in lining. So I will flatten where I clipped it right there. And then top stitch down the rest with the seam going that way. All right, so last side, I'm going to connect right here. This will kind of be hard to do on camera. I can switch to the other one though, probably. All right. One big circle. Now we want to get this bottom, what's this called? Exterior bottom accents, which are these two pieces here. We are going to sew them along the short edges and make a loop with these as well. So let's do that. And we want to top stitch with the seam open. So we'll top stitch along both sides. Okay, so like that. And then we'll do the other side. Awesome. Okay, mark the centers. I'm going to go ahead and mark our centers going this way. I've already marked the centers on everything else. I'm pretty sure. Kind of did it as I went along. This is pretty much just going to slide onto the bottom of your bag, and we're going to sew this on. All right, so we have our bottom piece here, and we want to turn this piece right side out. Pretty sure. Huh? Yeah. We need to cut down one of the pieces though. All right, we got this turned out, and then this is going to slide onto the bottom like this. Okay, so we want to take this round bottom accent piece, and we want to first line up the side seams here with our side of the bag, right? You want those side seams on the side. And I have all my centers clipped already, so make sure you have your 4 centers. Okay, so I'm gonna, and you want these pieces to be right sides together. So your right sides of your vinyl should be touching each other. I'm using a little bit stronger clips for this bag because I really want this part to stay. And then I marked my centers here, so I'm going to line those up. And then I'll just, it should fit really nice as long as you've stuck to that correct seam allowance. It should be pretty perfect. All right, and then you're going to use the seam allowance that she suggests in the pattern. I'm going to sew this kind of from the inside of the circle, right? I could take this over to my cylinder arm if I really wanted to, but I think I'll be okay on my flatbed for this. Where's my back center? Uh-oh. I didn't clip my back center. Wah, wah. Oh, I'm just going to work it in. We'll be all right. It fits pretty exact. I love these metal clips. I got them from Jackson Lowe. They're a little bit harder to open up just because they are metal clips. So they're stronger than the plastic ones. So I don't like to use them for everything, but they're great for things that you really don't want to move. Okay. Let's go ahead and we're going to sew this at that seam allowance, and then we'll flip it all out and top stitch. Right. So you should be able to flip it down. And our seam allowance is going to go down with it. Okay. Now we want to top stitch that. Do it inside out. You have to turn it inside out anyways. So I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm going to turn it back the other way because we have to have it this way to put on the base of the bag. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn it back. Awesome. All right, so now I'm going to top stitch this bottom piece, seam allowance going towards that bottom piece. I'm going to do it from the inside of the bag. It'll be easier that way. And then we will add the base. Okay, so that's all top stitched around. Looks good. So now we need to add our base piece. I haven't done an oval base piece in a hot second. So we're gonna start by matching up our centers and then we'll fit it in from there. Gosh, I can't remember the last time I did an oval base. All right, this will be fun. Let's do it. Usually on bases like this, I use a stapler. So, not sure if I'm gonna want to or need to or what. So let's go on this adventure together. Sorry, I had my heater on. I was freezing in my basement. And now I'm getting warm. All right. I think I probably will use a stapler just because I really don't want this to move. It fits in there really nice though. I'm debating, let me see. I might be okay actually without stapling. I'm gonna try it. We're gonna see. All right, so I'm gonna sew this on. Full seam allowance. I might do 2 rows of stitching like I like to do. I'll do one at the seam allowance and then I'll do a second row right next to it just to kind of reinforce that first row. And then we'll go from there. All right. Okay, I think I'm going to try just basting this first and then doing the full seam allowance. That usually works the best for me. You could use staplers. I could go to my cylinder arm. Like there's lots of different options, but I'm going to try this method first. So I'm just going to baste first. Because then when you pull it to do that bigger seam allowance, it'll probably be cleaner. Was what the idea is. So let's go. It's pretty good. All right, so I'm going to go around one more time. I'm thinking I'm going to go around the other way now. And we'll do the full seam allowance. Because now it's not going to move or budge in any way. So hopefully we can get a better stitch line on it. Hey, I think that turned out pretty dang good. Because I'm crazy, I'm going to go one more time around just right next to that, just to secure that stitching. But it looks pretty good, guys. All right, I'm just going to go real quick one more time around right next to that one. And then we're supposed to trim down the seam allowance a little bit. So we'll do that too. Move those clips. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to trim down that seam allowance, and we're going to turn this right side out so we can see what we got. Okay, so I trimmed that seam allowance down, and I turned it out. Oh my goodness, you guys. It is gorgeous. This might be the best oval base. I don't know if you can tell. I think it's the best oval base I've ever done. So I would highly recommend either basting or staples first. But oh my goodness, that looks so good. All right, so there is my exterior. We are going to move on to the lining. I'm just making sure you guys can see it. Oh, it is gorgeous. Yay! All right, let's go to the next step. All right, we're gonna move on to lining pieces. I've decided to just get my zipper panel out of the way. So I have my zipper panel pieces all prepped here and ready to go. I have all my ends evenly folded over like that with tape. And then I like to put one piece of double-sided tape along the right side of each of them to secure the zipper down when I do it. So I have those all prepped. So now I just need to do my 90-degree turn on my zipper. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I like to measure a 1/2 inch down, and that usually makes it pretty even. So just do it evenly on both sides. And separate that zipper, and then you just pinch where you marked that line right there. Pinch it and fold that pinch up to meet those zipper teeth right there, okay? And then I like to put a pin and baste it. You can try and melt your edges, clip it, however you want to do it. Basting is my preferred method. But do what works for you. My poor pens, they're like, ah. They're all bent. All right, that's what we're looking at. I'm just going to baste that along the edge. My bobbin got sucked up with that. Whoopsie. That's okay. That won't show. That'll get sewn in the... That'll get sewn in it. You can also just melt it. All right, next one. Make sure my threads don't get sucked in this time. That one's better. Okay, so we got our zipper prepped. Looks good. I don't love, but it's gonna be, yeah, it's fine. All right, let's continue. So I'm gonna take my first exterior piece, take the tape off. I like to line up the zipper tape with where the fold ends. That's where I start my zipper. Okay, right sides together. If you don't have tape, you can baste this part, right? And then I'm just gonna put a clip down here so my zipper doesn't go flying off. You could do this in 2 pieces and take your zipper completely apart if you wanted to. I may end up doing that. All right, you want to sandwich your lining on top evenly, and then we'll sew that together. Beautiful. I'm looking to see what her seam allowance is. Okay. I don't need to change my zipper foot to my zipper foot, which I like. All right, go ahead and sew that together. All right, and then you want to pull those pieces out. So now they're right sides out, wrong sides together, and we are going to sew those, top stitch and baste them closed. All right, so now, ooh, that looks good. We are going to repeat those same steps for the other side of the zipper. Here we go. All right, zipper panel is all done. I'm going to fold it in half and just clip my centers. Awesome. All right, let's do our next step. We're going to move to the lining pockets. So I'm going to do my slip pocket just a little differently. I'm going to do it with a trim piece on the top. So I have a trim piece cut out to the length a little bit longer than my slip pocket pieces. So I've got this, I got the center marked, and I've got tape on both sides. So it's just going to be a little trim accent piece. So I'm going to put together my slip pocket just a little bit differently. I'm going to completely sew around 3 sides and leave one completely open. So not crazy changing it up, just a tiny bit. right, here we go. Just gonna trim my corners down here. My seam was a little bigger on that side. Whoops. All right, and then I'm going to turn this right side out. Get my corners poked out nice. And then I'm just going to baste this top part closed. And then I'm going to add my trim piece. I'm just going to trim this end even. All right, I'm going to top stitch this on. All right, now I'm going to put this onto my lining piece. I'm going to put just a little piece of tape along the bottom of this pocket so it doesn't move around when I place it on. Just a little skinny piece down here. Just marking my center so I can see it for when I sew. Put it on. All right, I'm going to take the tape off. About right there, and right there. Make sure that looks good. I think that looks good. And then I'm going to just separate it. She has you just separating it in half. So we'll sew up right here when we get to it. All right, here we go. Awesome. So there's one side of my lining all done. Here's my other one, and we are going to do a zipper overlay on this one. Let's get out all of our pieces. I'm going to do some markings real quick for this lining piece. Just marking my centers first. And then my placement for the overlay here. Okay. I have tape on the back already, ready to go. So we're going to take that off, and it's in the middle of the overlay for a reason, because you need to be able to pull it off your material and cut away. All right, so I need to find the center of this right here. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to sew around the outside of this overlay. I'm going to pull through my threads so I don't have to backstitch. So it'll be a nice clean row of stitching. Here we go. I like to stop here before I get to it and pop through these first threads. So I like to pop through that one It's just easier to keep track of all of them. And then I'll finish. All right, got them all pulled back there. And then I'm just going to tie them off. All right, so now we need to cut out this middle section of our piece here. We don't want this in there, which is why we didn't put the tape up to the edge of the overlay, because we need to be able to cut it out in a way. Okay, so that's what it looks like now. We'll get our zipper pull, or our zipper tape, I mean. So I like to, so I'm doing a drop-in lining. I'm not sure where she has you pull this bag through. Let me see. Okay, I'm not leaving this zipper pocket open because I'm going to do a drop-in lining, but if you were doing it birthing method, this is the pocket that you leave open. Just FYI. All right, I like to put tape on my pieces to hold them in place along each right side of this zipper, and one piece along the right side of your lining. Make sure your ends are melted. Okay, so I'm going to take my first lining piece here, and I'm going to take the tape off, maybe. And my zipper, I have it opening to the right currently. This is just the way my brain does these pockets. You can do them however you want. All right, and then I'm going to take this, take the top piece off here of tape, okay, the top here. And I'm taking my lining, it's upside down right now, and I'm going to put the zipper in there. Center it. Line it up as best you can along that zipper tape. Looks pretty good. All right, so now I'm going to start just before the cutout here and top stitch down along my zipper and stop just after it here. And I will not be back stitching. I'll be pulling through and tying off those stitches. Okay, so I started right there, ended right there. Pull those through and tie them off. Okay, so now I want to flip this piece down. I want to tape this one into my zipper cutout here. Okay, and then I will add this piece on top. Lining it up with the top of the zipper. Okay, so your two pocket pieces are right sides together. And now we're going to take it, starting where we left off here, come up and around and down and in there, or actually starting here and coming the other way. All right. Here we go. Ooh, looks pretty. All right, so I'm going to pull through those threads. We're going to tie those off and then close up our pocket. That's it. There's our zipper pocket. Looks good. Next step. All right, so we have both sides of our main linings done and our zipper. So we're going to attach the main zipper closure to these. So I've got my zipper side of my lining. I'm going to put my zipper. You want your zippers going the same way. So they're both on my left-hand side, and you're going to have your zipper panel face up, not face down. You're going to line up those center of each of them, and we're going to clip that on, and we are going to baste it. And then you want to grab your lining, excuse me, your interior top is what it's called. It's called the interior top, I believe. So I have my center mark. I also have my drop-in lining line marked along this because I am going to do a drop-in. So I did mark that as well. Right sides together. We want to clip that centered along. And we are going to sew that on at the full seam allowance. Then we'll be flipping it and top stitching. All right, so you want to flip it so these top two pieces go up, and we are going to top stitch along the lining side of this, okay, right underneath. So that's one side. So now we want to connect the other side to the other part of your zipper here. So we're going to get our slip pocket side lining. I'm going to lay my other side of the zipper panel, right sides up, centered. And we're going to baste, and then we will add that top panel part again and do the same thing. Same steps. Just to the other side. Okay, flip that all up and top stitch. All right, so now we have the zipper panel attached to those two lining pieces. Okay, that's what that looks like. We're gonna set that aside, and now we're gonna work on our divider pocket in the middle. We are gonna work on the divider pocket now, and I switched to my zipper foot because you need a tighter seam allowance around that zipper. So I went ahead and did that. I'm gonna clip my center here. All right, so I have my pocket. I went ahead and put my zipper tabs on the end of my zipper. I need to clip. I did this wrong. I meant to do that after the fact. Okay, sorry about that. Let me clip the center of this so I know where I'm going here. Really tiny clip. All right. I've got my pocket piece laying right side up. I'm going to take my zipper right side down and centered. Right there. I'm using tape. You can baste. It's up to you. I just did tape for this part. All right. And then you want to piece the other zipper pocket piece on top of that. I guess I could have left that on. That was silly of me. All right. Okay, now we're going to sandwich that on top. And you want to sew with that bigger seam allowance. So I got my skinny foot on, ready to go. Not my skinny foot, my zipper foot on, ready to go. Let's do it. Make sure, I'm going to pull these zipper pulls all the way down to start. Okay. Okay, and then you want to press them apart and top stitch. I'm going to top stitch going this way. It's harder to top stitch with a zipper foot because you don't have both sides of the feet pulling you through, if that makes sense. So if you don't have anything on this side, it doesn't really work. I don't feel like changing the foot just for this one thing. Repeat for the other side. Okay, that's what we're looking at. Your right side should be all together. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to change my zipper foot and then we'll top stitch. Okay, got my regular foot back on. Let's top stitch and finish her up. All right, so that's what we're looking at. I'm going to fold that together. So our zipper is facing out. And we are going to close it up along the three sides completely. Okay, so I'm going to match up these top two pieces here first. Right there. I just want to be sure those line up. Okay. We are just going to clip it and sew it all together. All right, here we go. All right, so that is what we have right now. Now we want to take our interior bottom panels, these pieces right here, and we're going to be connecting them at the bottom of our divider pocket piece You do want to make a couple markings here. They're going to be your starting and stopping. Okay, on the edges, measurements are in the pattern. Okay, so those are my starting and stopping points. I'm going to do that on both pieces. Okay. Do we do it all at once? I think she has you do this all at once. So I'm just going to clip this one on first. And clip this one with it. Why not? Okay. So we're going to sew those on, starting and stopping at those markings. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. They're both attached to the bottom of your zipper pocket, but they're not all the way attached to the sides here, okay? Moving on. Okay, so now we're going to put this piece into our lining pieces. So clip this bottom panel piece out of your way, okay? Because we don't want to sew this into the sides of our lining. So we're clipping... I'm pulling them in and I'm going to clip them. Okay, just like that. And hopefully that stays out of my way. And then we want to take our zipper pocket here and we're going to be putting it in between. I'm going to clip, just a minute. I'm going to clip my tail of my big zipper closure out of the way too. All right, so I think I'm going to clip my pocket in there first because it needs to be lined up with the bottom. Okay, I'm just going to put one clip right there and maybe up here. All right, so that's attached to that piece. And then I'm going to clip my two lining pieces around that. Okay, you want it all together. So I want to line up where those two pieces meet here. And now I'm going to clip all of this in. Make sure this bottom panel piece stays out of your way. You don't want that in your layers here. Okay. I've got my two linings and my pocket in between. My panel is folded out of the seam. Do not get that bottom panel piece stuck in between. All right, I can't have these clips in there. They're too big and bulky. All right, there we go. Make sure you're not catching that tail. Here we go. Let's see the seam for this. Normal seam. We don't increase it. Okay. Sew it down. I don't know if I've ever done a divided pocket like this. This is kind of fun. This is new for me. I like that. I love it when I do something new. Makes me happy. Okay, so with this seam allowance, you shouldn't catch this bottom panel in between your layers. Should be good. Okay, you see how I didn't catch? We're good, and we're good. Yep, because that then pops out like this, and then that finishes our bottom. I broke a nail, sorry. I keep bending it and it hurts. I need to go get my nails done. All right. So now you need to bring this side over to the other edge. So it's going to kind of pull it in. Okay. And I'm going to clip it on this side now. I'm just doing the pocket to the one side of the lining to start, and then I'll line up the top of the linings together. All right, so now I'm just going to unzip that. I think it'll be a little bit helpful. All right, so now we want to line up this here. You want your top accent pieces that seam to line up together. And now I'll clip them all together. It's kind of, there we go. Okay, let's sew that one down. What did I do? Oh, look, my lining got caught right there. Shoot. All right. Let's take some stitching out here. I could feel it pulling weird. There we go. Try that again. That's okay, guys. It happens. There we go. Okay, so that's it. And now we need to match this side and this side with the bottom, and we will sew around the bottom. All right. All right, I sewed one side on already just to make sure I understood kind of how I'm going to do this. It looks like it's kind of hard to get exactly meeting up with that first row stitching, but I think it'll be okay since it's just the lining of the bag. All right, so you just want to take each side of this bottom piece, find the center of the lining there, and you're just going to be clipping it. I did put some snips in my lining to help with that curve, and I'll show you what I mean, and that seemed to help a little bit, and then we're going to sew this on. All right, so right here, I did some snips, and it kind of helped with that bottom curve that we've got going on there. Okay, so you just want to fit that in there as best you can. It doesn't fit perfectly for me, but that's okay. Like I said, it's the lining. You won't see it as noticeable as the exterior. I feel like I did a pretty good job though, considering like there's no puckers. I don't have any puckers or anything, so I think it's doable. I've never done a bag like this, so this is kind of cool. This is different. People are always asking how to add a divider pocket into the linings, and I'm always like, I don't know. So now I'll be like, reference this pattern. Because I think the pocket's really cool on the inside. I like it a lot. All right, let's do this. So the way I did my first one is I kind of did it under this way. So I'm going to move the camera. All right, so I'm just going to take it. It's hard to start close to here because you have like, you have a thickness right there that's hard to sew right up next to. So I'm going to start as close as I can get it. And just kind of don't be afraid to manipulate and manhandle the bag here. See, it's already moved. Yeah, see, it's got that. I'm going to come back the other way right there and see if I can't catch it a little bit better. All right, so just right here, I'm going to try and get just a little bit closer. I'm going to go around this way though. See if that doesn't help. Yeah, I think that's going to be a little bit better. All right, so it's not the most perfect looking, but it's done. Bottom is all sewn up. Looks good. All right, I'm going to prep this for a drop-in lining. So all I'm going to do is put tape along the top of both my lining and my exterior, and I'm going to equally fold it down like this. And then we're going to place it into each other, like the lining into the exterior, and we are going to top stitch that all closed. And all we have left is the handles and the crossbody strap. Real quick, I just wanted to show you how cool the inside of this bag looks. Look at that. It's got your divided pocket right there with all, oh my goodness, that is a really cool lining. I am in love with that lining. Yes. Okay, now I'm going to prep for the drop-in. Okay, so I have both my bags evenly folded down on the top, and I'm just going to drop my lining in and we're going to sew it up. So here's my lining. Make sure you've got everything situated the way you want it. Just going to drop her on in. Again, you can do the birthing method if you want. I just know I used pretty thick materials for this bag. So I thought this might go a little bit easier for me. So now I've got to line everything up and clip it all together. And then we will take it to I'm going to do it on my cylinder arm. And I am going to just top stitch it all down. All right, I like to match up my sides first here. Okay, I'm gonna come over this one. I probably got way too many clips on. I just didn't want it to come undone once I folded it down, you know. I feel like you can never have too many clips when you're doing a drop-in lining, so just put them all on there. This bag, this pattern is such a gorgeous design, you guys. If you were on the fence about purchasing it, it comes in 3 sizes. Why wouldn't you? It is so gorgeously designed. I love it so much. Highly recommend this bag. All right, so there she is. Oh my goodness. I mean, that lining, so amazing. All right, so I'm going to go take that to my cylinder arm. we are going to just top stitch down and around that, and then we'll finish up the last couple details. All right, here we are. Mr. Cylinder Arm, let's sew this up. I need a scrap piece of vinyl. There it is. Okay. Here we go. Got my threads. We're going to hold those. I'm going to start along the back here. Awesome. All right. Here we go. All right. Ooh, baby. All done with that. Looks good. Looks good. All right, so I am just going to add I'm going to sew up my handles real quick. I'll just do that off camera. Just easy fold and sew. So I'll do my handles. We'll attach those, put my zipper tab on, and we're done. All right, so I have my handles sewn up here. I have my rivet holes evenly distributed there. All right, and I punched them through. So I'm just going to connect my handles with some rivets. That's what it looks like, right? So we're just gonna put this, I like to put the post through first on that side and go around and push it through. And then put the cap on, and then I'll press it. Go over here, make sure you're not twisting your handle. Come on. There we go. And these are, I'm using 9mm rivets, which is what I saw on my website. It tends to be, I mean, I can use it for almost anything, except I guess really thick stuff, right? All right, and I'm just gonna put that in my press. There's one. And there's two. All right. All right, handles are on. Oh, she's cute. Oh, she's so cute. All right, so the last thing I need to do is this little guy here. So I've got my zipper end cap. I'm just going to make this a little bit more even here. And then I do like to do a little slight, where's my lighter? You could put a little bit of glue in here if you really wanted to, up to you. So I'm just putting on a little square zipper end cap. You just pretty much put the zipper tape in. I like to fold my tape back like that. And then I slide, oops, screw side here. So that's what it looks like from the back. And then I'm going to put my screw on. And it secures it pretty well. I haven't ever had one fall off. Sometimes I put glue in there, sometimes I don't. Guess it depends on my mood. Either way. All right. Give it a little tug. Looks good. All done. There is our cute, cute Regina Phalange. Love it. Okay, guys, there she is, all done. Oh my goodness, I love it. It turned out so amazing. What an awesome pattern. You guys, go grab this pattern. It comes in 3 sizes. I mean, love the lining. Love the design of the outside. So cute. And remember, I lengthened my handles. So if you want them just a little bit longer, I mean, I think it's great. Okay. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you next time. Bye.